I don't cry when it rains no more, or I get dirt on my shoes. I don't mind climbing 8 more floors, 'cause these stairs are all heading to you. I don't wait for tomorrow's sunshine when I feel it today. But when it's cold in the dead of winter, remember that snow melts away. One more cold drink, one more roll, one more dance before the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old. We don't need plans or a fancy agenda. Well, let's just see where it goes. We got no care for the way people stare at the dust and the dirt on our clothes. Hey, my friend, we'll never say
Hey everybody, come on to the Cajun Cooking Experience. This is Spuddy here, and tonight we're cooking one of those good go-to meals. Ground beef. Well, I have actually beef and pork with the little carrots and some sweet potatoes. It's one of those dishes that I really didn't know if I liked it or not. I started cooking it a few years ago, and I went, it's damn good. And it's a really, really healthy dish. We'll talk more about that. And it's an easy dish to prepare. You use your imagination. Do what you want to do with this dish. If you want to add a little tomatoes in it, we're not going to add any tonight. But if you want to add tomatoes, you could. If you want to add anything you want to put in here with this ground beef, actually works real well. Core thing is going to be what's going to make your dish good is going to be the quality of your ground beef. So let's start off with the little onions. And what we want to do is we want to smother these onions. What's up, Tim? Tim and Darren in the show. So what we want to do, we want to smother this down. We want to get some good color going on. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, I've got ground beef that's here, and then I've got chopped beef. Somebody said that they were going to cook the same dish, but they were using chopped beef. That'd have been Lucy saying that. But then I said, why not mix them both? Because I was going to do it with ground beef. What'd you say, David? Hey, Lucy. So I'm going to use both of them, the ground and the chunks, to see what kind of texture I come out with this. Because the chunks, what you do is you cut them small. You cut them in little small pieces. Don't leave them real big so that they'll cook along with your ground beef. And what I've done is I went and bought me a roast. I bought me a sirloin roast. A round roast with some kind of round would work really well. That you take this. Of course it will be, Lucy. But you take this sirloin and you grind it yourself. So I had this sirloin. I cut some little pieces off of it, and then I ground me some beef with about 30% pork. I like a little pork in my beef, especially since this is very lean beef. And what I like to use Boston butt. Boston butt has a great flavor, but if you want to come back and use something a little leaner, I could have used the cushion meat. David, how was the cruise? Cruise was good, man. We had perfect weather. Everything was really good. We did have one bad incident towards the end. And but besides that, we really, really had a good time. And I have to really start pacing myself when I go on these cruises because it's taking me too long to recover when I get back. 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night is not cutting it. Hey, Sherry, time for cook-off. I'll be the taste tester. I bet you they got a lot of people out there, Darren, that would love to be the taste tester. No, actually, we was on a cruise. We were talking about this. And that's when Lucy told me she was going to make her a little chopped beef. And I said, well, I'm going to make my ground. And so we kind of like a little challenge there, you know. And we had 22 people on our cruise. I think it was 22 or 24. So it was really, really a good cruise. We had a good group of people. And everybody, go to cruise, everybody kind of do your thing. You just do your own thing. You meet up, you hang out, and you separate. So it's really good. Good getaway. Oh, thank you, Mildred. What's up, Mike? So we got this cooking down, these onions. I'm sweating them pretty good here. And let's see. I'm going to bring in a little celery right now. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my garlic in. Because these garlic are cut kind of big. So I want to go ahead and bring them in right now. Now, what I did with my stock, when I made my stock, I like, y'all know me, I like a little smoke flavor in here. So instead of cutting up some andouille or cutting up some chunks of pork, smoked meat, which I have enough beef, I have enough meat right now. What I've done, I've taken Boston butt bones and I smoke them after I debone the Boston butt. And I use those when I make my stock. Not only do I get that good pork marrow, I get that good pork stock out of that bone, I also get that good smoke flavor in my stock. So, and it gives it, this way you get a little mild taste of that. Hello, my favorite baby second child, Heather Nicole. And everybody's got a favorite second child. That would be Heather Nicole. And tell the gang out there in Purville, Spudman says hello. So now we're just going to keep cooking these down. But this, we're using potatoes. We're using carrots. But potatoes have an awesome history in our culture. They go back. Potatoes go back way back. And we're going to talk about you had it right the first time before you studied. Yes, Heather Nicole. So, but the potatoes are so nutritional. This is what people don't understand. Potatoes, tell T I said hello, Heather. Potatoes have this nutritional value that people really don't appreciate it. They've gotten a bad rap. But potatoes have basically saved the world. You're talking about low in calories, a medium potato, a sweet potato. You're talking about 114 calories. So you're not talking about a lot of calories. Well, you got Hollywood. And then, the only thing is you do have a lot of carbs in them. You have 27 grams of carbs, but these are good carbs. That's something that you don't want to eat every day. But having a potato once or twice a week is very nutritious. Where we mess up is we get this pile of stuff we put on the potato, which makes it awesome. But we're not eating potato anymore. We're eating a dressed potato. You start putting sour cream, you start putting chili, or you start putting cheese. These are the things that make the potato get pretty unhealthy. Hey, Lucian, I knew it. Yeah, how about those Tigers, man? Them Tigers are rolling, brother. How about those Tigers is right. We watched them on the cruise ship. It was good. All right, Ricky. Hey, Glenn. All right, Michael. Staying all here for another round. I love it, brother. It's 2 years in a row. I do a cruise in September. I'm playing some bad odds here. I think I need to quit this. Both years. Last year we had Hurricane Francine chase us in. This year the waters were beautiful. What you cooking? We're doing some ground beef and pork with some sweet potatoes and carrots, Glenn. Just a little simple dish. And when I finish this, I'll be able to eat on this all week. I could put it over rice. I can make a sandwich with it. I can eat it like it is. I can make a wrap with it. There's so many, you can use it as a side dish. There's so many things you can use this for. It's not just a ground beef with carrot dish. It's anything you want it to be dish, which is what I like. Okay. How you say? You gotta use your imagination. Hey, Kim, what's up, my brother? Jeannie, keep that healthy cooking. You know it. I gotta keep that healthy cooking. And that's the only way I know how. And it's, we can make food taste good. We can do healthy cooking and food can still taste good. What happens is we get into the routine of eating this super processed food, this highly processed food. And let me tell you, it's addictive. There's nothing better than to grab something quick off the shelf, off through the drive-in. And it tastes awesome. But boy, does it catch up with us as we get older. So these potatoes are really full of antioxidants, which is really good for you. Now, carrots are low they're very low in calories. There's some good, carrots are good for your eyes. They're really good with potassium, so potatoes. So we've got to really, if you have potassium issues, you may want to back off on these meals. But potassium is something that's really good for you that you really need. It's good for the gut biome, these carrots, which is some good fiber for your gut. What's up, Dale? Better known as Rocky Wagger Stack. Hollywood, because it's fine, Hollywood. And then we're going to add some beef to this. Now, how unhealthy or healthy you want the beef is really up to you. If you want to get some really fat beef, then you'll start leaning to the high fat, little unhealthy beef. But if you get something that's pretty lean, like a sirloin or round, and grind it up yourself, you're going to have some good high quality ground beef. Just 3 ounces of beef, talking about 3 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, but it's some good fat, okay? Rocky, you still around, huh, brother? You made it through your test. But one thing about beef, it has all 9 of the essential amino acids that your body needs. It's one of the most complete foods there is. Beef is getting a lot of bad reputation. It's getting a bad reputation, and people are, they pooping too much or they passing gas too much, whatever the hell the cows are doing. I don't care. It's something that's really, really good for you. We've been living on beef for centuries and centuries and centuries. And I know one thing, I'm going to keep on living on it. Melissa, hello from the Bay Area, 70301. There you go, man. So potatoes started around 8,000 BC. The word potato comes from the Spanish word patata. Man, we're starting to get some color in these things. Now, what I'm going to do is, once I cook this little bit of water out, I'm going to bring my chunks of beef in. I'm going to start cooking those down a little bit. Now, if you wanted to take those chunks of beef and add a little flour, put a little light flour coating on them and cook them in here, it would actually make you a little roux, which wouldn't be bad in this. If you wanted to add a little flour to this and make a little light roux in it, you could do that. That's another option. And we're not talking about adding, a cup of flour. We talk about maybe a couple of tablespoons of flour. We really do you some good. And that's just another option. We're not going to do that tonight. What you say, Rod? Oh, it's all good, partner. And bringing in this good stock instead of just plain water, that says a lot too. And I did boil some chicken parts in here, which gives me a good chicken stock, a little smoke flavor in my stock. And of course, I added my bay leaves and my cut-offs from all my vegetables to go in here too. All right, we're starting to get a little color in here. And then also what I've done, hey, Lori, you see this right here? When you have the Boston butt, you don't get all the meat off. When I boil that bone off the Boston butt, this is the meat that's left to the bone. It's nothing going to waste. I actually boiled it so much, I boiled that little bit of meat left on the bone. So I'm going to have that little bit of pork in here, and that's going to give also a little smoke flavor, which I really like in this. What's up, Roland? Cooking a little beef and carrots, brother. Ground beef and carrots. So now we're adding a little chunks of beef, and this is sirloin right here. So I'm still working on my sirloin. Now use the favorite part of the cow that you like. If you want to, use filet mignon here, go right ahead. It'll make an awesome dish. But I can think of a lot better things to do with that filet. All right, we're gonna take a little peek in that pot, and you see all the vegetables starting to cook down. You see the beef that's coming in here. That beef will start throwing some water in a little bit, and that water will start building our gravy. Okay. Been missing your videos. Always learning something. Thank you, Russ. I appreciate that, brother. I really appreciate that. Oh, believe me, this is when I give her the cliff notes. I have a lot more to teach. Anybody that knows me, they'll tell you. Okay. Now it's starting to let out a little water out of here, so we're starting to get a little moisture down here. Hey, Sharon, how you doing, man? So you're going back 8,000 BC. Well, you know what's amazing? It's amazing how in the Aztec area, how they grew the potatoes. They did what they call microclimates. So depending on what side, the mountain, how high up the mountain, you had areas where they grow potatoes, area where they would grow maize, and then areas where all their vegetables that they grew. They were very, very smart farmers, and then also they made sure that they managed the land that they were farming to the max, so they get the maximum production out of that land. But just think, how they thought about going to different layers of the mountain and making these gardens so that it was all about survival. It was all about survival. In different areas, different temperatures grew different things. Oh, Dino, checking in from Narco, Louisiana. What's up, my brother? Man, we was on a cruise from a lot of people from Narco. The hometown where my mama was born. Okay. Now we're starting to get, man, this beef is really starting to smell now, okay? Now, one thing about my ground beef, I've seasoned it already. So I've got to be careful before I bring in seasoning. It's not over seasoned. It's seasoned just right. But I have to remember, like anytime I ground my meat, I always season it ahead of time, like I'm seasoning my sausage. Because I know what I'm going to cook with it, and I'm okay with it. But you have to really, really remember that you season it. Write it on the pack. But if you're in doubt, don't season it. Wait till you cook it. Billy Picard finally getting the history lesson of potatoes. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. I just think when I was at Destrehan, I hated history. Come a long way, baby. But by the 18th century, potatoes were being used to feed the pigs and the prisoners. People really weren't sure about eating them. They were foods for the poor or the soldiers out in the field, and food that you could count on to stay alive. So the well-to-do people probably wouldn't have been eating them at that time. But they had great nutrition, easy to grow, they were cheap, and they were plentiful. Randy Cajun. Hey, you're never late, my brother. Hey, Lynn, all the way from Texas. Yes, indeed. Man, we got a good look crowd tonight from all over the world. Let's take a peek in that pot. If you can see, you're starting to get a little moisture right here. This is the water so the onions are starting to caramelize now, but also you're getting that moisture from the beef. It's making a really, really good gravy. And this is what you want. That gravy that you're going to build, this right here, this foundation that you're going to build, if you don't do this right, this is still going to be okay. But you won't get all the flavors, this awesome flavor that we're going to get tonight. Take your time with it. Hey, Vicky, what's going on? Melissa, how you doing, man? I'm glad to see you got in early tonight. Oh, Norris, what's going on? I'm doing great, brother. How you doing? How's everything over there in our neighboring state of Texas? Oh, what's up, Mike, all the way from Georgia? I was singing, but y'all gonna turn the show off. All right, so we're going to keep on working this, and pretty soon I'll start bringing in my ground beef, okay? But potatoes, wherever hey, Shelly, all the way from Canada. I love it, baby. But potatoes had a bad rap, and they always weren't accepted, okay? The Europeans in the 16th century used them to experiment with. Doctors believe they cause leprosy. And the Scots believe they refused to eat them because it wasn't biblical. So that's crazy. But people had different ideas of what was good, what was not good. It was introduced in the United States around 1719, but it didn't catch on to Thomas Jefferson served it in the White House. Once he served it in the White House, then people started going, hey, it must be okay. The president's eating it. And Thomas Jefferson was one that brought a lot of crops over. He was a pioneer of growing different things in his area, so that he wasn't scared to bring stuff in from overseas, and also wasn't scared to grow things on his farm, and introduce things to the United States, to his people. Okay. Man, this is really, really starting to smell good. And it's chunks of beef. I've never done it like this before, but I think it's going to work out. So, it's something. This is one of those dishes. That's what I said when I started. You can do anything you want with it. If you want to use chunks of beef, only do that. If you want to do it with pork, do that. I like the beef, and I think I'm going to like these chunks of beef with it. Chunks of beef are going to give you more of that beefy flavor in here. Now, if you don't grind your own ground meat, if you don't make your own, you don't grind your own beef, then you never know what you're getting in the store. If you have go look at videos of people butchering like a deer or a cow and see what gets thrown in for ground meat. It's anything that you can't sell, anything that you can't use. It's going to be, that's the reason that ground meat was invented. And if I had 80-20 ground beef in here, I would have a lot of fat that would be released from that ground meat. Oh, it's Smurf. Of course I deliver, brother. Okay. Oh yeah, make sure I got my good fire. And this would work better if I had a black iron pot. I use this pot because y'all can see any better. Black iron pot is kind of dark, but you can see inside the stainless steel pot better. And it does a great job. Oh man, I'm starting to get a really, really good gravy in here. So 1845 to 1849, there was a disaster with potatoes. You had the potato blight in Ireland. It killed close to 1 million people in Ireland. But around 1.5, 1 3/4 people migrated to the United States. They became immigrants to the United States at that time and other countries. Ireland, they actually lost half of their population because of the potato blight. So the population went down between 2 and 3 million people. Those who couldn't get out, basically they starved to death, because it was the poor people are the ones not only ate the potatoes, but they also made a living growing the potatoes. And with the potato blight, they had no income and they had no food. And pretty much, they were out there to starve. It was a terrible time in history for mankind. Mike, glad to see you back, your neighbor. Oh, thank you, Mike. I'm back, brother. It was a good little getaway. But the whole time I can't say, wait, I can't. The one thing I kept saying as we got closer to home, can't wait to get back and see y'all. Might as well drink a little beer on that one. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring this ground beef in. And I have 3 pounds of ground meat. And I probably had about 1.5 pounds of the chopped beef. Like I said, you can use what you want. And what I've done when I ground this meat, I ground this meat about 6 months ago. I'll take it and vacuum pack it in 1 pound bags. Makes it easy to, I know what's in the bag. I can just go get it out the freezer. You drop it in a sink of water. You can do one of 2 things. You can put it in the refrigerator overnight. It's going to defrost within 24 hours. Or you can drop it in a sink of water. In about 2 or 3 hours, it's done. It's ready to cook. Especially hot like it is. Okay. Now we're going to start breaking this up. Like I said, at this time, if I wanted to add a little tomatoes to this, I could. It would actually make this dish a very good dish, okay? Now, I'm going to give y'all a little fun fact. In 1995, potato became the first vegetable grown in space. And they were experimenting with that because they wanted to send potatoes up to grow potatoes in space for future space exploration. That was the first vegetable grown in space, 1995, October. So you heard it here first. Harvey, what's happening, brother? Okay. Now, our main character in here is our beef. What's the history on beef? Beef has been around since 6500 BC. It started as it was a wild animal, a huge beast, and it was, I don't know if I'm saying this right, auroch, A-U-R-O-C-H. The auroch was a wild animal that eventually they domesticated. They became extinct because they were overhunted by man. Man just kept hunting them and killing them. And so many things that we've lost because of overhunting. But this was one of them. But in the meantime, they had go ahead and they domesticated some of them so that eventually they became the cattle that we have today. Ricky, test tube space potatoes. Hell, I don't see why not. All the stuff they got in the market. Hell, I don't see why we don't have that on Earth. Best thing about potatoes, according to my dad, they grow in your ears. I heard that too. Now, here's the thing. If you take that meat and grind it, if I got to ground that meat today, I wouldn't have all this trouble breaking it up. Once you freeze it and it bonds together, man, this is a lot of work right here, just chopping this stuff up. But if you're going to buy ground beef in the supermarket, get you a good 90-10 mixture. And if you can find certified Angus, it'll cost you a little bit more. But that certified Angus is a really, really good ground beef. That sirloin roast I bought, certified Angus. Sharon, info and measurements. A buttload is real unit of measures equivalent to 126 gallons. Well, I'll be damned. That's something new I didn't know. You see that? Sharon just stayed in St. Rose longer than me. That's why she knows that. I left too early. A buttload. How do you feel about grass-fed beef? So, Mike, I really have no problem with it. I'm not going to go out my way to go get it, but I don't see anything. It's going to be a tougher piece of meat, but it's going to be some claim that it's healthy. It's not going to have all the fat, the marbling and all that you would have with the stockyard beef. But as far as being good, yeah. Do I want to pay twice the price? Probably not. But I know that the beef that we eat today, compared to the 60s, early 70s, is definitely a different beef. I feel like we had a better quality of beef back then. And maybe because the butcher was cutting it fresh and we saw the butcher cutting it. I don't know. To me, it was just better. But I really have no problem with any beef I eat. What's up, Kenneth? Does anybody else have any opinions on grass-fed beef? I say there's a place for it in the market, and I think there's just a place for it in the market. If you like it, that's your jam. You do it. Oh, Bobby, what's happening? But I would definitely eat it. But I'm tired of reading about the seeing beef taking a beating of so many things wrong with it. Because nutrition-wise, it's hard to beat it. Especially these days, as you get older, you need more protein. Beef. Now, if you're going to eat a ribeye every day, you're probably going to die young. It's probably going to kill you, unless you have really good genetics. But to have a lot of beef a couple of times a week, I don't see anything wrong with that. My papa died at 92. He smoked king beef. He drank whiskey every day, and he ate beef every day. Can't be all bad. It's a lot of protein. Yes, it is. Just 3 ounces too. You don't need a big, you don't need the big steak around. Just a little 3-ounce serving, which is like the size of your hands or a deck of cards. That's all. That's all it takes to get that high quality protein, a high amount of protein. Bobby, I did the seafood jambalaya. It came out good. Kids bought up alligators. All right. So Bobby, when I did my seafood jambalaya, I sent them a recipe on it. We talked about it. He watched it on the show, and he says it came out real good. And it's the quality of the seafood that you put in. Hey, Jacqueline, good to see you. But so, and then thing about beef on the English, they brought the beef in from England, along the colonial area. But where we're at, especially going to the west, you had New Spain, the Spanish territory, which would be South America, Mexico, and the eastern part of the United States. Those cattle eventually spread to that part of the United States. That was all your big cattle country. Now we're gonna take a picture. We're gonna sky in with the sky cam. You can see the gravy building in here. This is a really, really good gravy. It's not a lot of fat in this gravy. This is just the beef putting out some good natural flavor. Faye, what? Finish. I mean, finish your question, Faye. If it's what I'm cooking, it's ground beef and carrots and sweet potatoes. Okay. Man, this is smelling good in here. So, and then I remember reading about the Sicilians that when they came in, from Italy, beef was expensive in Europe. When they came here, we had pretty cheap beef. So instead of making a little bit of meatballs or no meatballs at all, this is where we started making bigger meatballs for our spaghetti and all, because it was so cheap. Okay. Now, what changed over the years? The beef industry really blossomed in the 19th century with the expansion of railroads, the development of large ranches, and the creation of powerful meat packing facilities. This really, really changed the beef industry. Are you still working on the cookbook? I am, Mike. I am. I'll be pausing again because now I'm getting ready to get busy. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the powerful meat packing companies really started expanding the beef industry. But the development of the trains, the expansion of the railroads was the biggest thing that can move these cattle into the meat packing places. Eventually, now today, we have the feedlots. So now our cattle industry is going from, open grazing, feeding them some corn, getting them right, sending them to the market. Now we're basically raising them on feedlots. Some people, some people say it's not, the cattle aren't as good. I say they're just as good. Whatever happened to Mr. Orridge, Oak Alley's heard of saying, Santa Gertrudis? I don't know. Once Mrs. Stewart died, all that went away. Probably sent back to the Armstrong Ranch, if I had to guess, Ricky. And then after that, it became a tourist attraction. It was funny because her nephew Zeb is the one that took it over, and they had a lady that was doing a tour there one day from the riverboats, and she told me she knew Zeb in college. And in college, he told her at Tulane of his dream to turn Oak Alley into a major tourist destination. And everything, she said, I'm here today, and this was in the 60s. She was here last year at Oak Alley, and she said everything he told me happened in this place. He fulfilled his dream. And it preserved the plantation, because a lot of plantations we've lost because there's just the cost of maintaining them. Spuddy's Cajun Cooking Experience. Come for the cooking, stay for the history and knowledge. You got it, Mike. And okay. I have to try a little bit of this beef. Woo-hoo. Oh, man. Okay, now. Let's start bringing out carrots. Now, how much of this you want to put? That's up to you. But I like this little sweetness. I've got to change spoons now. Starting to get hard to turn. And one thing these sweet potatoes are going to do, and these carrots, they're going to bring a little sweetness in. I like to use sweet potatoes. Now, if you want to use Yukon Gold, red potatoes, baked potatoes, you can use them in here. Sweet potato is just going to give you that sweetness to go in here. And you know, the more you cook these sweet potatoes, the more sugars are going to come out this potato. And it's going to make it a very different dish. Okay? And the way I got it, I've done the carrots. The way I learned about the sweet potatoes, a friend of mine, Pete, Wayne Moss, his wife, he told me his wife made sweet potatoes and ground beef. And he bought me a taste. Man, I was hooked. So I figured, why not mix both of them together? Like I said, this dish, you can do anything you want. Use your imagination. It's just your imagination. So y'all shouldn't sing. Okay. One of the things I'm going to bring in, when I do beef dishes, if you can get some beef bones and make you a good broth, do it. It's worth it. But hard to find beef bones because everything comes boxed meat, boneless, ready to go. I put a little beef base in. Now, I've got a little pork stock in it, but I add this little beef base just to give this dish a little heartier taste. Something that you don't have to put. Beef base is kind of like a bouillon cube if you want to compare it to something. I get it commercially, and you have to be really careful of which one you buy because some of these are loaded with all kind of artificial flavors and MSG. You have to be careful what you get. I make sure I have some that's pretty natural and no MSG and no artificial flavors and no artificial colors and all this kind of stuff. Okay, I get it as pure as I can get it. Any honey in the recipe? All right, that's a good question, Ricky. If you want to add a little honey in here, look, you can knock your lights out, and I'll add a little bit after. This is something. Do I normally put honey? No. But can you? Absolutely. Absolutely can put some honey. That's just, now, don't overload it with honey unless you really like a sweet, you want this dish to be a sweet dish, which I don't. But you can add a little bit of honey in there that work, and it'll complement those sweet potatoes. And I'll tell you, the longer you cook this dish, the better it's going to be. Later on, when we start getting around Thanksgiving, I'm going to do some candy yams. And you'll see, not canned yams, I'm going to make candy yams. And you'll see by naturally cooking these sweet potatoes, what kind of sweetness that you can make, what kind of dessert you can make for the holidays. It's really awesome. We've gotten comfortable with using the can of yams. Not the same. Okay, I'm going to bring a little shallots in right now. And I just threw in the tops and bottoms because that's something I just had left over from last week. I didn't have a lot of tops left. It kind of went bad a little bit. Okay, now, once these potatoes are cooked, this dish is going to be ready. Then you have to start tasting. Something I want to do, I'm going to bring in a little hot sauce. Red will go really good in here. If you want to do a little hot sauce, you want to bring a little tomato, like if you want to bring some chopped tomatoes in here, or if you want to bring a little Rotel in here, it would work really well in this dish, if that's what you want. If you want a little bit more tomato, you can put some tomato sauce in here. I'd rather stay away from that and maybe just add some chopped tomatoes. That would be okay. And if I was adding chopped tomatoes, right now would be the time I do it. Okay. Okay, make sure I got enough fire. So now, oh, Jacqueline, not only looking good, it's smelling good. And we're going to take a look in that pot now. Now, if you look in here, right here, I don't know if you can see it, we're starting to get a good little gravy right here. This gravy is going to be our flavor. This is a nice, dark brown gravy right now. And the colors in this pot. I mean, it's just, so, you know, they're talking about you get these dark colors in your food and it's very nutritious, very healthy for you. This is the kind of dish that you got a lot of firepower in this dish. And I'm using 3 pounds of ground meat. I can eat on this. I'm going to take this tomorrow and pack it up in some little containers, plastic containers, and put it in the freezer. Or I can vacuum pack some of it tomorrow. And anytime I want something for lunch, a little quick meal, this is always available. And once a week makes an awesome, awesome meal. Now, people who exercise, work out, this is something that you want to incorporate. You want to put something like this on your menu because you need this protein. You need this nutrition. Keep my table clean. All right, bring in a little bit more stock. Now, but anything you want to, let's see, sweet potatoes pair well with chilies. Would you ever consider adding a chipotle pepper? Chipotle pepper? Absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. Anything like that would go really well. About 1/2 can of Rotel added. You can do that. That's a good one, Kenneth. So you can do all those things. Chipotle peppers, yes, you can actually do that. If you want to bring in some, any kind of peppers you want to bring in here, it would go really well. Cayenne peppers, jalapenos, anything, it'd be good. Ooh, man, we got an awesome little gravy building down here. I'm gonna bring a little bit more stock in so I can really work on my gravy. And remember, I'm using a very lean beef here. So I'm basically having to build a good gravy in this thing. If I had a cheap ground meat, I would be scooping fat out of here. Dr. Peppers? Hell yeah. Oh, man. I got to take a little dip of ground meat. Pam, would you serve a side of root peas for a very colorful? Oh, hell yeah. So Pam's asking if we make a little side of root peas with this dish. Absolutely. Root peas, to me, are a good side dish with anything. Another real healthy dish, we'll be doing some root peas real soon because we start getting around the holidays. That's a really good side dish for your holiday dishes. But root peas just would go awesome with this. And what I would do if I had my root peas, knowing me, I'd mix everything up. Oh, man. This gravy. Man. This gravy's out the box. I've got to let the spoon cool off a little bit. Okay. So this stock right here makes all the difference in this pot is to make you a good stock. And like I said, if you can get a hold of some beef bones, put them in here. Ball that with you when you're making your stock. And like I said, I use the Boston butt bone. Makes all the difference in the world. I have that little hint of smoke. I didn't have to add any smoked meats in here because I smoked those Boston butt bones. Instead of throwing them away, not using them, I always smoke them and keep them in the freezer. Good for stocks. Good to put in stews. Good because you want to ball that marrow out of there and you want to ball all the rest of that meat off of that bone. Then also, you can keep some of those bones that's not smoked when you're cooking you some beans, like red beans, white beans, any kind of peas like that, lentils or something. Drop that plain bone in there. Ball that meat off, and that's going to give you a whole different flavor. Just don't throw those Boston butt bones away. Use them in your dishes. Oh, let's take a little peek down at the bottom of the pot now. Look in here. Look at that gravy in here. Look at that bread diving in. Hell, I could make a dish just with this. Now, how do I know when this is gonna be ready? When the potatoes are cooked. Cody, buddy, let's make a red bean jambalaya with ham and lunch meat soon. Just like our moms used to make. Hey, brother, you come and cook it with me? Dino, I done dipped that French bread 3 times already, brother. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay. Now I'm gonna start checking these potatoes. A little bit longer. Potatoes really don't take a long time to cook. Take you about 15 minutes to get those potatoes cooked. But the sugars that these potatoes are letting out in this dish, it's going to constantly change this. Now, somebody asked me about honey. This is, I got to be careful. So I'm going to add a little honey in this dish. I don't need to add a lot. What's good about this jar? Quality control said the honey's good. No, so now instead of adding sugar tonight, I add a little bit of honey. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start bringing a little seasoning in. Whoop. Okay. I add a little salt in it. I add a little black pepper in here. I'm going to bring a little bit of cayenne in. Well, yeah, Brian. Okay. I don't need to bring any of our sugar in because we've already added the honey. Oh, man, the gravy in here. The gravy's unbelievable. Now, if you wanted to, if I was in a stove in the back and I was cooking this for myself, I would take and put this on a simmer, put a cover in this pot, and just let it bloop for about 20 minutes. It would just slowly let the flavors out. I'm with Cody Martin. Chunky lunch meat with red jambalaya. I know that's one of our St. James Parish favorites out here. Look like we're just gonna have to do it. Now, what I want to do, I want to start tasting this for flavor. Okay. I'm going to start tasting this for flavor. Oh, Lord. Seasoning good. You saw. I didn't have to bring a lot of salt and pepper in. Remember, this meat was seasoned already. And I keep bringing the stock in because that stock is actually making my gravy in here. Now, what made my gravy in the beginning was taking and smothering those onions and those chunks of beef down. That's where my gravy started. And then once I threw the ground meat in and the rest of my seasoning, this gravy just kept building. Like I said, if you could put this thing on a simmer right now, let it go for about 20 minutes, a little bloop, slow, you would have one hell of a dish right now. Ooh, this stuff is. Now what I want to do, okay, I have a little bit in my plate with carrots and a sweet potato. I want to see how they're coming along. Because once they're done, once that's cooked, it's done. Almost there. We'll bring some parsley in. Let that cook down in here. You see, I like fresh parsley. I don't like to sprinkle that stuff out the jar. So here's the dish. Super nutrition, made from scratch, farm to table. Not hard to cook. Not hard to cook at all. If you have to buy your ground meat, try to find you some certified Black Angus. It does make a difference. I learned that when I was in the food business, and they started coming out with certified ribeyes, certified steaks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable in the difference of the flavor, because the cows are fed different and actually treated different, actually raised different. And it's tough standards that these cows have to meet. They become certified. Take another peek in that pot. All right, let's try that one more time. Okay, see the gravy built up right here? So if you want to serve this over rice, now tomorrow, this gravy is going to tighten up. I can tell you my breakfast tomorrow morning. My breakfast is going to be this in a wrap. I promise you, this is going to be an awesome breakfast tomorrow morning. I can put it on toast. I can put it between two pieces of bread. I can make, or I can get a pull bar. I can open this thing up and make me a little tunnel here. Now, another way to make a breakfast or a lunch or a supper or a snack right here. I have to let it cool off. Every time I bite into one of these things, I pay for it for 2 days. Okay. Y'all, this is a wrap. I'm going to taste one more time. Taste these carrots and these sweet potatoes. What'd you say, Melissa? Oh, Missy. Oh, yeah. Throw an egg in there. Oh. I like sweet potatoes, but this just picked up a whole lot of flavor with this beef in here. Oh, man. Y'all. The game changer for ground beef. Now, Mike, you saying throw an egg, but you can actually take this tomorrow morning and make you an omelet with it. That would be a good thing to do too. And that's how I would do it with my egg. 3 eggs, 4 eggs, make a nice little omelet. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, that's it. Let's take another peek down in the bottom of the pot. And you see the colors, you see the gravy. It's just not gonna be, you just can't beat this. Doll, I wish I could smell it all the way here in South Texas. See, when y'all came down a couple of weeks ago, doll, I could have cooked some of this for y'all. I didn't think about it. Man, this is some good stuff. So, all right. Before I leave, I will bite into this pull bar for y'all. Hey, Katie, all the way from St. Louis. Love it. Ah. Man. I think I just found my best way to eat it. Oh. You know, you can put this over rice. But I'm not wasting this over rice. there's too many other things I can enjoy it over. But like I said, it's your thing. Do what you want to do. Almost Miss Spelling in Omaha. Are you going to sell plate lunches once a week again? No, Missy, I'm not. That didn't work out good at all. Not consistent enough. What you cook for us was amazing. Shrimp and crab stews. So Doyle's a guy. Him and his wife Joy came down with another couple, Kathy and Russell. And Doyle I grew up with. Been doing Doyle all my life. So they came down and visit, cooked them a little shrimp and crab stew. And all I can tell you, that stuff was slamming. That's really hard to mess up shrimp and crab. There you go, Mike. Good sourdough bread bowl. Yes, indeed. All that will work good. So, all right. Next week, I don't know what I'm cooking. Anybody have any suggestions? Just shoot them over to me in the messenger. But this has been a really good dish. You want something very nutritious, something that you can use throughout the week. Serve it in different ways. Sourdough bread bowl or any kind of bread bowl on a pull bar, on sliced bread, in an omelet, over rice, as a side dish. Anything that you can think of, this dish will work, okay? Best part about it, if you eat an 8-ounce serving, you almost have your protein for the day, okay? Oh, thank you, Terry. Not only it look awesome, brother, it is awesome. I promise you. So anybody tries it, shoot me a picture of it. Let me know you tried it. Until next week, then I'll keep y'all posted what I'm going to cook. Because pretty soon I have to make a wild game gumbo. That's something that I have to get done, and next week may be the week. So until then, thank y'all. What about subbing turnip or sweet potatoes? Absolutely, Kenneth. That's a good one. So before I go, Kenneth wants to know about, instead of putting sweet potatoes, add the turnip in for sweet potato. Absolutely. Or you can put some turnip in here, put a little turnip in here with this. You get the turnips, especially the ones that have a little sweetness to it, would go really, really well. Give it a whole different flavor profile. It would be good. Whoa, had some pepper in there. So, McKenna, that was a good one. Turnip will work great in here. Like I said, use your imagination. Thank y'all very much. God bless y'all. Want to see y'all next week. Everybody have a good week. Love y'all.
Don't get me wrong, I love my life. These concrete walls, these city lights. What I'm about to say, it won't make no sense, but I gotta get it off my chest. There's so much more